he talks about the overall technological spectrum nowadays, which we are seeing nowadays, and Mr. Kuthakul talks about what should the students do for job preparedness and so on. Even in the domain of in the time of pandemic, we can see a lot of economic slump by many companies, but possibly in the software industry, I mean, they will see a boost up, so that everything is being done online, and so so there will be other job opportunities in this sphere also. Thank you.
Really grateful for the opportunity to address you all. My topic is getting job ready during a pandemic. So in the theme of getting ready for the future, this is a little more immediate future. It is what you can do in the current time to get job ready based on my experience working in the industry for around like 15 years now. And these are things that I wish I knew when I was starting in the industry, and I wish people who I interview in my job knew. So I'm hoping to share this with you all so that it'll help you in your future career and landing a job. So let me switch to. I have some very simple slides over here. I want to cover 5 things you should know when you're job hunting after you've cleared your education, and then there are 5 things you should do while or before you're gonna get into the job market. All right. So a little bit about me before I get started. I'm Kaushik. I work at LinkedIn. I am a full-time software engineer. I work on web applications. So it's basically things that you access in your browser. You type a URL, open a page. Well, that's a web application. I've been building web applications for around 15 years now. And I am also the creator of an online educational portal called Java Brains. If you search for Java related stuff, Java or JavaScript related stuff on YouTube, there is a good chance that you might have seen one of my videos. I put a lot of educational content there. I've been doing that for the last 10 years as well. So I am very passionate about getting people job ready, getting people well equipped, well prepared for entering the job market. So I want to address the things that you should know before you kind of like set your eyes on like, okay, how do I get ready? How do I prepare? These are things. There are 5 things. They're not all good news. They're not all bad news, but these are just what they are, right? Facts that you should know. The first thing that I want to cover is kind of like the entry criteria for getting into the job market. One of the things about the computer science, I've been looking at the chat and I've noticed that there are people from the computer science field, there are people from other sciences who are kind of interested in the software industry, I believe. So I want to address there are a couple of things in the software industry which is kind of unique and different from the other sciences or the other engineering careers. It's very informal, right? It's a very low barrier to entry, and people don't really care so much about kind of like the formal processes. And I'm not talking about like I work in California, and I have people here wear shorts and t-shirts and come to work. They do that even in winters just because they can wear shorts and t-shirts and come to work. But setting that aside, the entry criteria is very informal as well, right? You don't need to have a computer science degree to get into computer science. You can have like a mechanical degree or any other degree, but you need to have the skills and the ability to do your job, and that's what matters more than anything else. In that sense, it's very much merit based, and the barrier to entry is very low. I'm sure a lot of people already know this, but this is something that's kind of not a lot of fields have this, and computer science and the software industry in general is very welcoming to people from other sciences. Second is the outside perception of working as a software engineer. And this is something I wish I knew when I was starting out and I was seeking a job. A very common thing that people tend to believe is that, well, software engineering is easy and it's well paid. So it's like it's lucrative, it's attracting a lot of people. And what ends up happening is, like, at this point, it's almost become like a get rich quick scheme. People from other fields are like, yeah, well, my field doesn't pay so much. Well, the software industry pays so much. So I'm just gonna attend a boot camp and get a high paying job, and then I'm done, right? So this is the typical outside perception, and in a way, it's true, because you don't see boot camps for becoming a doctor. You don't see boot camps for becoming, I don't know, a civil engineer. But you do have a lot of software boot camps, and some of them work. But the problem also is that there are certain skills that the boot camp covers that, like, a formal rigorous education does not cover. And you have this imbalance of people with those skills and not some of the other skills. And this is also something that's affected the job market. All right, that's the second thing you should know. Third thing you should know about supply versus demand. This is something that I get asked a lot. You see in the news that, well, there's a lack of software developers in the industry. There's too many jobs and not enough developers. And people come to me and say, well, if there is a shortage of developers, why am I not getting a job? Again, the thing to remember is that not all jobs are the same, and not all developers are the same. Again, you might have a certain job market where you have a lot of people doing boot camps and then showing up in the interviews, and they all have kind of like this cookie cutter same set of skills. And then it's harder to stand out when there are like 20 people applying for a job and they've all gone through the same boot camp. They all have the same set of skills. The other thing about supply and demand, which is specific to the current situation now, is that it's a little bit worse for the candidates, because there are companies who have kind of frozen hiring, companies who have slowed down hiring because of the pandemic, and then there are people who have like the shortage of jobs, and then it's like, more people applying for the same set of jobs. But again, the thing about the pandemic is it is going to get resolved at some time in the future, hopefully in the near future, but definitely sometime in the future. And there is going to be an upswing there, because all these businesses, all these jobs which have been on hold will pick up. And at that point, it's going to go back, and then it's again, the balance is going to shift. So it's kind of like an ever-changing, ever-shifting balance, but ever so slightly. I also say this from personal experience, because I graduated in 2001, and there was a slowdown at the time. And the slowdown was also on the back of a really high upswing, right? It was like the 2000s, the Y2K, that was when things were really high. And then the dot-com bubble burst, and then things were really low, and then things went back again. So as somebody who has been affected by the upswing and the downswing, I'm fairly confident that, again, it's just something for us to tide over. All right, so that's the third thing you should know. The fourth thing you should know, and again, this is something I wish I had when I was looking for a job and I was like just graduated. It is harder to get into the industry than it is to stay in the industry. I see an annotation request here. Is this something I should allow? I'm not sure. Maybe? Okay, it went away. Never mind.
So please continue. Please continue.
All right, thanks. So what I mean by this is that the software industry, I think in any industry in general, but software industry in particular, it's hard. It's harder to clear an interview and get a job than it is to actually retain your job once you have it. Okay, and there are a lot of factors for this. There's company's cost for a wrong hire. Okay, so let's say I'm an interviewer and I'm trying to hire someone. Me and the company that I work for pays more. There's a higher cost if I end up hiring someone who's not qualified for the job, as opposed to just letting go. Like I might have somebody in an interview, I'm not sure, like I'm 50-50 there. It's recommended for me to just say no as opposed to say yes, because in case I may take that risk and that person is not qualified, it's riskier for the company, it's costlier for the company. And then also the other way around, right? So the company's cost for firing someone is high as well. So once somebody is hired, they're given a little bit more of a chance than taking that person. So this is again a very different shift from college. When I was in college, I kind of had this thing that, well, attend an exam, give my paper. The lecturers or the professors are there. It's their duty to be right. So they are responsible for making sure that you get the right amount of marks, you get the right grade that you deserve. But real world isn't fair, unfortunately. Again, the company is going to err on the side of caution. But again, there's, as the code goes, life isn't fair, but it's unfair to everybody. So in that way, it's actually fair. So this is true for all people who are attending interviews. The final thing that you should have as a perspective is that interviews are hard, and that's actually good news. I remember my teacher once told me when I was studying that it's actually good news when the exams are hard. When you have a harder question paper, it's actually better than when the question paper is easy. And to illustrate that, imagine if your exam question paper was like, what is 2 plus 2, right? How hard is it to get score first rank there? Because everybody's going to get that answer. However, if the question paper is hard, then you have a chance of clearing it and staying ahead of the curve because you can put in hard work and get ahead, as opposed to so many people who are not going to put in the hard work. So whenever you think that, okay, interviews are hard, that's actually good news, because you can put in that hard work and stay ahead of the game, as opposed to interviews being easy, but it's harder for you to stay ahead and make a mark yourself.